Hello, Maxim and Anna and Maxis, Max S. So as per usual, we'll wait a bit, give people time to join in before we start. Hello, Doa, welcome. Yeah, good morning. It's afternoon here, but it's almost 8 a.m. in New York, right? In the EST. How's the weather out there in Florida?
All winter it's been warm.
Oh, it's warm now, huh?
Yeah. And clear skies today, I
Hmm.
think.
Here,
Yeah.
raining, cold.
Are you on the West Coast?
I'm in southern Italy.
Oh, okay, well, pretty far.
Hello, Anna. Nice to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and you?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing just fine. Okay, welcome Armani. I think it's your first time, and I think for a few people here, it might be your first time. For Dennis, Armani, you, Max S.
Sorry, I'm gonna lose my voice. Hey.
What's that?
Oh, I was just saying hey.
Hmm.
I'm new here.
Okay,
Yeah.
welcome. So a few more minutes to give people time to join, and then we'll begin. Also, it's highly recommended that you go to your settings in Discord and you can disable the uh, leave and join sound. So that can be a little bit annoying during meditation. So should go to settings and notifications and turn off sounds for user join, user leave. Okay. So welcome in Cliff and Viraj and Suraj. Or Viraj, didn't you say your name is pronounced a very different way from how I say it? Barak or something? Varak. Varak. Okay, great. Okay. Welcome, Varak.
Thank you.
And Siraj and Meaty. Welcome in, everybody. So we're gathered together today to practice meditation, either Sarah over on YouTube. Um, and as we take a few more minutes for people to join in, we can get comfortable, get settled in our meditation position. Get comfortable. Okay, welcome, Karan. Nice to see you. Welcome, Ricky. Okay, so for our meditation practice, um, we have to give up and let go of the complicated mind. Okay, the mind likes to think a lot. We like to be involved in a lot of different activity, a lot of different ideas about ourselves and other people. We're always kind of in motion, right? We're going towards something, we're trying to get away from something constantly. So to do meditation, we have to put the body down. We have to put down this constant motion, this constant activity, and we become kind of addicted to it, right? We become kind of addicted to always doing something, always stimulating ourselves, always watching something, always listening to something, always drinking something, always eating something. It's constant. So it takes a unique person, a certain kind of person, to be able to meditate. Because what you will initially find is a sense of, what the heck? This doesn't taste like coffee. This isn't pizza. I've been tricked. I've been lied to. I came here to have a TikTok. I came here to watch a movie. Well, this isn't a movie. This isn't TikTok. You're not going to have that kind of experience when you meditate. It's a very different activity. It's an unusual activity, especially when we've grown up in a very capitalist, consumerist kind of society, where it's all about, well, you have a problem, time to consume. You have a a nice thing happen, you have a pleasurable feeling, time to consume. It's always more and more stimulation. So in practicing meditation, we have to understand that this is not watching TikTok. This is not the same activity. And we have to be very willing to experiment, to try to explore our mind, to explore our body, to be very present and intimate with what is happening right now, with what is being experienced at this moment, rather than our, general ideas of who we are and what's supposed to be happening and all this. We really have to give all that up. We have to put all that down when we do meditation. We have to have a certain degree of faith that this isn't just a random thing, but it's a practice that has been transmitted for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. It is a way of training the mind, calming the mind, dealing with suffering. It's not just something that we can participate in loosely. We really have to put forth effort. So as we are all here, we can start off by asking ourselves, well, what is the motivation for being here? Why do I want to meditate? What is the reasoning for it? Try to find some reason, some deep intention that you have about why you're here. Touch that, connect with that. And as you find that reasoning, really that feeling that you actually do want to be here, you actually do want to train the mind, you do want to practice, make sure your body's comfortable, that you're sitting still. And take 2 or 3 deep breaths in through the nose, filling up the lungs, going down into the stomach, the breath going out. And breathe that intention, breathe that motivation that you have for your meditation. Breathe that into the body. Bring the mind home to the body at this moment. You can close your eyes if you like, or leave them open. But begin to turn the mind around. Not looking outside for a treat, a sweet, something to watch, but turning the mind around. Beginning to look closely at the breath. This vital, precious treasure of breathing that allows us to live, allows us to continue living each moment. Give your full attention to the breath as it flows in and flows out. Right now, the only job, the only responsibility that we have is to follow the breath as it flows in and flows out. Feel the breath as it flows into the body and flows out. This is a precious time to rest and be aware, to really get some rest, some peace, some stillness, and to touch that stillness deeply. Simply following the breath as it flows in and flows out. Don't try to control the mind. Don't try to fix the mind. Just breathing and being aware. Let the body be the body. Let the mind be the mind. There's no conflict, no tension, no struggle. Just sitting here at this moment in stillness. Breathing and being aware. Allow all those knots that we've tangled ourselves up in. Knots, tangles, stresses in the mind or the body to relax, to refresh, to settle, to calm. Just breathing and being aware. When you start to feel confused about what you're doing, about what meditation is, about, we're so easy to get confused in something. Try to practice just breathing and being aware. You don't need to be confused. You don't need to rely on the mind, on thought for this period of time. Notice it, be aware of it, thinking and thoughts and preferences and why am I doing this? All these thoughts come up. Notice it and then return. Allow yourself to just sit here, just breathe, follow the breath as it flows in and flows out, and be aware. Thoughts may arise. Feelings in the body may arise. Allow the body to sit here. Rely on, return to, stay with just breathing and being aware. Any thoughts that come up, any feelings in the body that come up, simply take the approach of that's not my business. That's not for me to be involved with at this time. That's not for me to react to at this time. Just notice, be aware, return to just breathing, just being aware. Sometimes our practice is to just make peace with what we are experiencing. No need to try and change it or fix it. Just breathing and being aware, making peace with life as it is at this moment. truly with each and every breath, making peace with what is being experienced. Awake and aware, just breathing, being at peace with what's happening. Each breath is also to restart and refresh, to put down any struggle or expectation, just to be here at this moment, breathing and aware. Enjoy the mind, enjoy the body, but do not become entangled with anything. Moment by moment, breath by breath, just aware. Giving all your attention and all your presence to the feeling of the breath flowing in through the nose and flowing out. Fully aware of the body breathing. If you feel tiredness, make peace with tiredness. If you feel the mind is scattered and excited, make peace with that. Just sitting here right now, awake and aware, looking closely at this mind and body as they are, being fully present to our life as it is right now. So at this time, we will read a story of an enlightened woman from Japan in the 13th century. You can continue your meditation if you like, or you can stretch out a bit become more comfortable. So this story is entitled Chiyono's No Water, No Moon. Chiyono was a servant in a Zen convent who wanted to practice meditation. One day she approached an elderly nun and asked, "I am of humble birth. I can't read or write and must work all the time. Is there any possibility that I could attain the way of Buddha even though I have no skills?" The nun answered her, "This is wonderful, my dear. In Buddhism, there are no distinctions between people. There is only this. Each person must hold fast to the desire to awaken and cultivate a heart of great compassion. People are complete as they are. If you don't fall into delusive thoughts, there is no Buddha and no sentient being. There is only one complete nature. If you want to know your true nature, you need to turn toward the source of your delusive thoughts. This is called Zazen. This is called meditation, Zen meditation. So when we practice like this, don't be surprised when you encounter your delusive thoughts. If you want to know your true nature, you need to turn toward the source of your delusive thoughts. Chiyono said with happiness, "With this practice as my companion, I have only to go about my daily life, practicing day and night." After months of wholehearted practice, she went out on a full moon night to draw some water from the well. The bottom of her old bucket, held together by bamboo strips, suddenly gave way, and the reflection of the moon vanished with the water. When she saw this, she attained great realization. Her enlightenment poem was this: "With this and that, I tried to keep the bucket together, and then the bottom fell out. Where water does not collect, the moon does not dwell." And there's a reflection of this teaching from a practitioner that I'll read. It's a part of this book. From Merle Kodo, Boyd. For several years now, I have kept a picture of Chiyono and her bucket on the bulletin board above my desk. It is a delicate 19th century woodblock print of a young Chiyono standing in pale moonlight, a bottomless bucket at her feet, a puddle of water spreading across her path. I was drawn to Chiyono's verse the first time I heard it. I was seized by the words, "With this and that, I tried to keep the bucket together." But I did not know that she is also thought to be Mugai Nyodai, whose name is chanted in a morning dedication to our female ancestors in Japanese Zen. When I first heard Chiyono's verse, I had been practicing for 10 or 12 years. I was keenly aware of the constant tension of keeping the bucket together. I understood that the intent of practice was to relax my grip on the old bucket. But conditioning runs deep, and the sense of personal identity is strong. Hearing the words "with this and that," I felt the exhaustion of years of vigilance, all aimed at protecting my idea of myself. I felt the exhaustion of being my own obstacle. Our Zen practice is medicine to this conditioning. All the practices within Zen challenge the illusion of the perfect bucket. The teacher-student relationships, ritual, sangha relationships, meditation itself. All of these challenge this illusion of the perfect bucket. That is, that as we engage in spiritual practice, as we start to be very intimate and direct with walking the path, we find that it's not a perfect bucket, right? Our teachers aren't perfect, our meditation isn't perfect, our relationships with people around us and the rituals that we perform, in this way or that, are not perfect. As much as I may wish to appear competent at all times, I cannot immerse myself in Zen practice without a willingness to come apart. I really like that verse. As much as I may wish to appear competent at all times, I cannot immerse myself in Zen practice or meditation practice without a willingness to come apart. Sometimes it's appropriate to stop patching things back together. What, then, allows us to leave the bits and pieces scattered on the ground, like the splinters of the bucket around Chiono's feet? We are conditioned to keep the bucket from falling to pieces. Unique personal circumstances can intensify this general conditioning. I was in the first generation of Southern Black children consciously raised to enter integrated schools. In such circumstances, everything seems to ride on keeping it together, especially in public. And so we were conscientious and hypervigilant in order to prevent disaster. And yet, we Zen students have chosen a path that calls us in the opposite direction. In spite of our conditioning, we are called to awareness rather than vigilance. This connects a little bit with what Ajahn Brahm has been said in our meeting last night about you can't force it. It's to be aware. We can't practice through willpower alone, through vigilance. We are on a path of no water, no moon. Our conditioning tells us that it is a risky path, and yet we sense its offer of freedom and feel called to take it. Ironically, it was precisely that conditioning of keeping it all together that gave me the courage to walk into a Zen center for the first time. I had been trained to tolerate the circumstance of being other, to maintain a public identity in places where I was allowed but possibly not welcome, like the schools and libraries of my childhood. Zen centers offered something that I deeply needed, a place to experience my life in the world more deeply. I hoped that I would be welcome at a Zen center, and I also knew that it could be otherwise. To walk into this uncertainty, I relied on being outwardly upright, while keenly aware of inner fears. As Zen students, we live between Chiyono's first two lines and her second two lines, between keeping things from falling apart and letting them fall apart. Knowing how to keep things together is a valuable skill. It was knowing how to care for things that led Chiyono to continually patch the bucket. When it fell apart, she made excellent use of that circumstance as well. Our liberation, our enlightenment, our freedom deepens with the refinement of our capacity for flexibility and discernment. The liberation I was raised to seek is one aspect of the liberation we speak of in the Dharma. In the community of my childhood, our efforts were directed primarily towards gaining entrance into schools, access to employment, to housing, to services that made life more comfortable. But awareness of our essential and undeniable freedom comes with awareness that we and all things are without a self. The one who is liberated must be allowed to disappear like the water and the moon, moving between patched bucket and bottomless bucket. I can exercise my freedom to keep things together or let things come apart according to the circumstances. I have come to trust the true freedom of living where the moon does not dwell. Where does the moon go when its reflection disappears? Where do we go when we let go completely? Okay, dear friends, so I think to finish today, we will do a chanting of the Heart Sutra. Okay, this reading that we just went through is in the Japanese Zen tradition, and any kind of Zen traditions, they tend to really enjoy this chanting, this sutra. So we can chant it together um, as a practice, or you can just listen. It's up to you. But it's nice to chant, to express ourselves and express our practice. And I can share the file for that in voice text so people can have it in front of them if they like. Okay. So there's the file. If you'd like to chant along, I put in the voice text channel. Okay, so we can all bring our hands together. Mahaprajna Paramita Heart Sutra. When the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara was coursing in the deeper Prajna Paramita, she realized that all the five skandhas are empty, thereby transcending all sufferings. O Shariputra, form is not other than emptiness, and emptiness not other than form. Form is precisely emptiness, and emptiness precisely form. So also are sensation, perception, volition, and consciousness. Shariputra, this form of the emptiness of all dharmas is non-arising, non-perishing, non-impure, non-pure, non-increasing, and non-decreasing. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form and no sensation, perception, volition, or consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind. No sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, or thought. There is no realm of the eye, all the way up to no realm of consciousness. There is no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, through to no aging and death, and no ending of aging and death. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, and also no attainment. With nothing to attain, bodhisattvas relying on prajna paramita have no obstructions in their minds. Having no obstructions, there is no fear, and departing far from confusion and delusion, they reach ultimate nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future, relying on prajna paramita, attain supreme Buddhahood. Therefore, the prajna paramita is the great mantra of power, the great mantra of wisdom, the supreme mantra and the unequaled mantra which is able to transcend all sufferings. It is real and not false. Therefore, he uttered the mantra of prajna paramita by saying, Gate, gate, para, samgate, bodhisvaha. All right. Thank you all so much for joining in this group practice. Sometimes it's time to patch our bucket together. Sometimes it's about time to let the bucket fall apart. Being willing to fall apart, being willing to patch up the bucket, to try, to do your best, to not know, right? Because when we start with meditation and we start to join a meditation group, or we start to learn about Buddhism or anything, right? Most of it is not knowing. So you have to develop a relationship with this state of not knowing so that you can learn, so that you can grow. You have to develop a relationship with letting the bucket fall apart so that you can see there isn't a self there to begin with. There's not someone there to know. But you also have to be ready to carry water, to chop wood, to patch the bucket, to patch your robes. Okay, let's all try to continue doing our best together, and soon to be completely and totally enlightened. All right? Thank you all for being here. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bante. Thank you all.